Hello, 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 and welcome to this edition of Office Hours with Lanora. Thank you for joining me on today. For those that may be new to my series here on Facebook and YouTube, Office Hours with Lanora serves 3 points. The first one is to help anyone who wish to learn about their options related to a career in real estate. The second reason for Office Hours with Lanora is to help those that have started a real estate journey already and began schooling or formally the process to earn a license, help them pass the exam on a first attempt. And third, for anyone that is already in the industry, stay in the industry. All right, so that is the 3 reasons or pillars for the Office Hours with Lanora segment. So we're going to start today and discuss or talk about, or I will talk about, prospecting. I like to say it's prospecting 101. It's really basic information with a little fine tuning or my own personal spin on it. So let's discuss how you can take prospecting 101 and find leads on a budget. So I'm going to be relying more on my notes today than ever before in any other live because I don't want to miss an opportunity for someone to improve, become more efficient, or to even get started in prospecting or looking for leads. So I will start with what prospecting actually is. Love definitions. It's a way to generate new clients or customers in a sense, because they have to become your customer before they become your client. You do that through active outreach or outbound communication. So what I mean by active outreach is you personally introducing yourself to someone. Maybe you're in at a wedding or an open house or at the grocery store, and someone engages you because you have your name tag on that says that you sell real estate, that you're a real estate professional, and that person asks you a question. So that's active. That's going to be active outreach. Outbound communication is like cold calling, or you picking up the phone and following up with for sale by owners and doing those sorts of things to outwardly engage them. They didn't come to you, you went to them. Okay. Why is prospecting important is my next topic, or because you get to build relationships. Real estate is a business of relationships. So if you're this person that don't like to, you're not outgoing, or you're very timid, or you're not easily approachable, this might not be the career choice for you, but you want to be able to build and cultivate those relationships and get them established so that you eventually turn that customer into a client. You also want to be prospecting because there's the ABCs of real estate where you should always be closing, but the most important one is the ABP of real estate, which is always be prospecting, because you can't close if you're not prospecting. You can't close if you don't have a relationship established with a client. You can't close if you don't have a business in place. So starting with your license as well as prospecting to build that relationship ultimately gets you to the ABC of always be closing. You also want to grow your referral base. Real estate, again, is a business of relationships. So at some point, you may have helped a previous client buy or sell their property. They should be able to refer you to someone or spread your name and say, hey, give Lanora a call. She helped me. I'm sure she can help you. So you want to always be in the position to be referred. So do your absolute best as you are working with your clients so that they can refer you to other people. My next thing that I wanted to mention was, when should you prospect? All the time, of course. You want to prospect at least daily, because with this type of career, it's not a traditional 9 to 5. You're not going to get a paycheck at the end of the week or in 2 weeks or bi-monthly or annually or however you get paid. Your efforts will determine how much you make, as well as how many people you engage and how many relationships you then establish. So you should be prospecting daily, even if it's you saying to yourself, I'm going to call 5 to 10 people, new people, every day. I'm going to search to see how I can help someone who might have a need for my real estate resources. And that's prospecting, okay? Another thing that I want to kind of go over, and this is where we're going to dig a little deeper into the ways that you can find leads on a budget. Let's talk about those. I often like to mention farming. And basically what farming is, it's like market domination. So farming, in a sense, think of farmland. It's an area where you have your crops and you are tilling and weeding and putting the seed down, and you're grooming this crop to grow so that eventually you reap the harvest and the benefits of that crop. That's no different in real estate. You may have a select number of blocks or a specific zip code or a city in general. Somebody prospecting a city, you got a lot of money, I like it. But you might be considering a specific area that you feel most comfortable, you have the most knowledge about, and you want to create that as your farm area. Farming basically is you being a subject matter expertise for that area. Like for my example, my home. I might want to farm in my zip code or the blocks immediately before or after my current home, because I should know those blocks. I know the streets that are behind me, the streets that are in front of me. I know the style of home that you'll find in this particular area. I also should know home values. And if I'm driving around in my own home, in my own area, then I should be seeing the for sale signs that are going up and those that are not, because those are the people that I want to talk to. I want to introduce myself formally as a real estate professional to let them know that if they ever have a need for my services, give me a jingle, check my website, text me, follow me on social media, those sorts of things, so that we start to establish and build that relationship. So farming is very important. You can do this by postcards, which 20 years ago, postage was much cheaper, but it's still a great resource, because think about it. Most people are in your email accounts and dropping and sending emails to you. And if you're like me, I get hundreds of emails every day. I simply go through and just check and delete. Well, you might not want your email to be deleted, so you have to do something a little different. You probably want to, at this point, start putting things back in the mailbox. You have to find out what the regulations are for your villages, your cities, your counties, if you can put door hangers and things like that on the actual physical property, because you don't want to violate any rules. Another thing you can do to find leads on a budget is purchase foreclosure list. So you're going to say, Lenora, where do I get the foreclosure list from? You got to do your research on that one. I won't ever say one thing. I won't ever say go to this specific list, because what if that list doesn't work for you and it's not affordable for you? Therefore, I don't want to be responsible for if it doesn't work. But remember that when you're working with your clients too, always give out 2 or 3 contractors or multiple mortgage brokers or multiple attorney information, so that you don't get locked into one person saying, hey, that didn't work for me, Lenora, but you told me to go to this person. Foreclosure lists are huge. We are in a pandemic right now, and unfortunately there is some moratoriums that will soon be lifted, for example, on the leasing rental markets, that could prompt some of those landlords to now become, unfortunately, foreclosed upon. and their names and their property and information about their properties will be on a foreclosure list. I used to purchase foreclosure lists when I actively represented clients, and it worked for me. I sent out every 28 days or 14 to 28 days something, a postcard in the mail, letting that specific seller know, hey, contact me. Let's find ways to either help you stay in your property or to get you from under this property with the least amount of damage to your credit as possible. So that's one way that I did it. I also purchased information from the law bulletin in Cook County. And that's where I found information about who was getting divorced, who had passed away, who had transactions or whatever that they had to list for public notification to said parties as a way of saying, hey, I'm about to divorce Mr. Tolliver, and I want it to be known to the public that I've put this notification in this law bulletin to let him know that I'm publicly notifying you that I want a divorce. Said thing for home ownership. You know, if somebody is divorcing, they may have a property together. You don't want to be like an ambulance chaser, they would say. But in a sense, you're there to provide a service. You're there to help said couple. If that's the case, it's a divorce situation. You're there to help that couple sever the ties and try to figure out how they can go their separate ways as peaceful as possible and get rid of this property as soon as possible for the most amount of money. Okay. Here is a couple of apps that I know and I personally use myself that are great ways for you to find and attract leads. HomeSnap, it's free. If you're a real estate professional, you already know about this. But in my research, I found that a ton of real estate professionals are not using HomeSnap effectively and efficiently. It's a free web page basically for you. It's a tool for you to interact with those that may be on search engines looking for various properties. And every time said person clicks on a property or something of that nature, if they've added or joined your HomeSnap account, you will see the properties that they're interested in. It's a great way to establish dialogue, to be able to say, hey, I noticed that you were looking at 123 Main Street, and based on what we talked about, or if you're interested in taking a look on the inside of that property, give me a jingle. Let's set something up. Let's set an appointment for you to go in and look at the next home of your dreams. You've got to be on it, because in real estate, we learn time is of the essence. So if you're just sitting back and you're scared to approach people, you're going to miss out on a lot of transactions you could have closed. Okay. We also know that with HomeSnap, it's a great way for you to optimize your business profile. It's a great way for you to solicit reviews from past clients, because who better to speak about the service that you provided than the people that you've already provided the service to? So your past clients are going to give you those reviews. And if your marks are high enough, people are always doing their research online. I get a ton of folks that call me now for real estate school that say, based on the reviews and based on someone saying, hey, check out Lenora's website, they gave us a call and they either got the information or they became a student. With HomeSnap, you can also, like I said, connect with buyers. It's a great way for you to market those properties that you may be listing or co-listing. And it's also a way for you to give a service that right now, a lot of folks don't know the value of their home. And to be able to do a comparative market analysis in your farming area, because you're the subject matter expert, remember, to be able to say, someone contacts you and say, hey, let's set up an appointment so that I can give you a better, more thorough estimate of what I think your property will potentially sell for in today's market. There's your key to the door. You're in. The other app that I want to mention to you is the Nextdoor app. Nextdoor. So both of the apps are free. But again, Nextdoor, not as similar to HomeSnap, but it's an opportunity for you to advertise your services. It's an opportunity for you to remain engaged with what's going on in the area or the demographic of the area that you choose. Nextdoor, I personally use it right now. So I know that there are people that are always asking for contractors and, hey, do you know someone that might be able to help me um, look into a property, or can you refer someone to me? They should be calling you. They should be referring your name on that Nextdoor app because you're actively engaged on it, and people like to work with people that they trust or they feel like that they have an established relationship with. So if you're going on there and maybe leaving information about upcoming open houses, is that what I'm, an open house that you are hosting, it's a great way for your neighborhood or your community or the actual local residents to get to know you much better, and hopefully you get some business out of it. I just mentioned another way for you to find leads on a budget is to host that open house. To do that, but make sure that you make safety a priority. I don't want you going into an open house where you're there by yourself and the free world is just allowed to walk in and you're unprotected. Make sure that safety is a priority when you're hosting your open house. But at the same time, it's a great way for those that may not be represented by a current real estate professional to get to work with you. Now, you might want to have various agreements in place or let them know that this is a notice of no agency. You'll learn about all of that in the class, pre-licensing class. But you don't technically work for anyone but maybe the seller that you're hosting that open house for. And what information that you do share, it's going to be pretty basic information because you don't represent that person that's coming through the open house. But maybe they decide, hey, I do want to work with you. Maybe I don't want to buy this one, or I'm not interested in this particular open house, but I would like for you to show me more. Great way for you to establish leads that way too. Something I used to do way back in the day, but I know in the current conditions or state that we're in right now during the pandemic, floor time, it was another way that I was able to generate leads from both the sales side and the buying side. Floor time basically is you working inside of your brokerage office. And by working in the office, you may be the designated real estate professional or broker or residential leasing agent who has, for that hour, all of the incoming leads. Anytime that phone rings, anytime someone comes through the door, you are the designated person that's on floor time duty for your office. Those are your leads. And because, not very many of the local real estate offices are open where someone can kind of just walk in, they may just be predominantly calling, but it's a great way for you to establish leads that way. The very next way that I suggest that you look to find leads on a budget is to ask your managing broker. Duh. I did it all the time. Jim Oster knew me very well because I was in his office and I'm like, Jim, what you got? I'm ready. I could go out. I could take somebody today. You don't know if your managing broker has those pocket listings where they're not on the MLS at this point in time, or maybe they have a friend of a friend or someone moving to our city, the state, that farming area that you're working in, have contacted your managing broker and asked for help. There might be a relocation company that need the service and have reached out to your managing broker. He or she might be in a position to fill those leads out to the various brokers or residential leasing agents that are in said office with them because they know that that person is going to close the deal. So talk to your managing broker. You'd be surprised. The last 2 ways or 3 ways, let's start with what should be the most obvious of them all, is social media. It is absolutely free. And I feel like every time I talk about social media, I'm trying to sell social media to the camera. But you don't have to pay for it. It's as simple as what I'm doing right now, turning my camera on and speaking. The biggest thing about social media, you have to have that likability factor. You can't be all boring and not bringing established value to that live or to that Instagram post or to that YouTube channel. Give helpful tips, techniques, find ways that you can be of service to your viewer. And said person might begin to call or email or share your information because they're looking for a family member or a friend that might be interested in using your services. Now, what I wrote down with the help of some of my real estate friends, their advice was to not be a secret agent. If nobody knows that you're in the business because you're too afraid to post on social media to say, hey, I just closed on this property, I can help you too, or my open house is today between 12 and 2, or if you're providing those helpful tips, if no one knows that you're in the business, guess what you're going to be? Out of the business real soon because nobody knows about you. So don't be a secret agent. Introduce yourself. I also mentioned about providing those helpful tips. Maybe because you are the subject matter expert for the area, you know that there's a new shopping mall or a new Walmart or Target or maybe a new bookstore or something coming to your area. You should probably let your residents in that area, in your farm area, know about what's new coming to the area. Become a member of your local chamber of commerce. That way you have firsthand knowledge and information on what's happening around you so that again you can increase your likability factor, the resources that you have available, and hopefully the amount of leads that you're getting. Let's talk about spotlighting or partnering with like a local contractor. And you might want to ask that contractor, with their permission, can you highlight properties that they have either started or are in the process of completing or have completed? That way you can put those different properties, of course, with the proper what is it, notification that you don't own or that you have not listed said property, you don't represent the seller, you are simply highlighting the services that the contractor has provided. You might have a buyer that is interested, or somebody, I shouldn't say a buyer, somebody that's interested in purchasing a property and they're looking for fix and flips, or they might be looking for something to renovate so that they can live in. Them knowing that you have contractors in your back pocket that can do this type of work, winning. You are winning. And it also helps that contractor know that you're going to advertise my property that I just fixed for free. I might need to use you on as my real estate broker on the next purchase that I make, because now I know that you're providing additional services that I didn't even consider. Take that into consideration. You should also partner with other team members. I like to say get you a team established of multiple attorneys, multiple home inspectors, multiple lenders, and title company representatives. All of them. Get your team in place so that when your buyers are saying, or people that are coming to you and saying that I want to purchase a property or I want to sell my property, and maybe I need to know the value of this property or what repairs need to be made, or is it something that I can do right now with my husband on title or off title? Get those subject matter experts in their areas on your team so that you look like a one-stop shop and your client doesn't have to go anywhere. So you, again, become the subject matter expert to fill those questions out to your team that are helping you close more transactions. All right. Let's talk about current renters as leads. We often forget about the folks that are renting right now. Not everyone that is renting wants to remain a renter. So at some point, you need to put together some type of blueprint to help them hopefully reestablish credit or give them time to save up money and have those check-in times or periods of the month or a week or so or however long it takes them. Maybe they're renting month to month or in 6-month increments. But you should be checking in with them to let them know, number one, you haven't forgotten about them. Number two, that you sincerely care about them becoming a homeowner. And you're going to do and work with them what it takes to get them the keys in their hand to their new home. So don't forget about the renters. Don't sleep on them. Know that they might not be ready today, but if you're a true real estate professional, you're always forecasting and thinking ahead, and you want to have business for years to come. And that could easily be through a rental pool of future buyers. Last but not least, I know social media was obvious, but this is like more obvious than social media. Referrals. Referrals. If that is not your main source of leads, you're doing something wrong. You want your referral pool and your referral base to be so large from past clients that you've helped. Maybe it's from that rental pool of people that you couldn't help right now, but they just admired how you went above and beyond for them, that they now know a friend or someone else that may potentially be more ready than them. Referrals will keep you fed in real estate because it is the highest form of a compliment that anybody can give you in any sector, in any business. So do your best to grow your referral base to the point where you can pretty much just live off your referrals. I did it. You can do it too. So those are just a few of the ways that I think that you can find leads on a budget. Most of them are free. A few of them do have a nominal price associated with them, but this is a business that you're in and it takes money to make money. So you should always be investing back in yourself, especially through education, but in these other resources to help you establish your name, put your name out there continuously, and to grow your business. I want to thank you for choosing to join me on this episode of Office Hours with Lanora. I will be leaving the dates of upcoming classes and webinars that we'll be offering over at the Realtors Real Estate School. Another service that I am offering, and I'll put that as in the title up above, is an opportunity for you to do a CE checkup with me. If you've taken classes with the Realtors Real Estate School and you are now working towards completing your CE or continuing education for the next renewal cycle due April 30th of 2022 and July 31st of 2022 for residential leasing agents, check in with me. I want to just look everything over for you, make sure that you have all of your classes in place, including that Code of Ethics class that's due by the end of this year. We can do it really quickly, sometime 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on your questions. So you can find me on Calendly, and I'll leave that up above, as well as we will be returning to in-person sessions for our pre-licensing courses in the month of July. For the month of June, we are continuing to stay virtual through our Zoom platform. So I will leave the dates for that up above as well. Thank you all for joining me once again on this episode of Office Hours with Lanora. It's my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you on the very next one. Ta-ta for now.